PJNet.TV Part 2. And we have a bumper rolling. We have a background ready. We've got JD standing by. So let's switch to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good evening. Welcome to PJNet.TV Part 2. We are about to take a trip around the Cross W. And JD Wininger, the curator, is here standing by. And he's qualified to take us around on a tour because you take a tour almost every day. About 4:30 in the morning, you kind of ride around just to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, I get riding around about between 6 and 7 every morning. I got to get enough sun up so that I can see to unlock the gates, Coach. But yeah, every morning I travel around the Cross W. Do it twice a day. I do it at morning and at evening. I always do a night check also, Coach.
So more okay. So at night, it's do you have to feed them at night, or is that literally just recon?
Oh no, I don't have to feed them at night. I'll normally stop and give a little treat to the donkeys, and of course, Bubba's not happy if he doesn't get a treat. So he'll horn in and have to get a little horse treat. Of course, he's as big as a horse, so it seems fitting. But no, I just like to ride around, make sure everything is secure, make sure I count the right number of butts and everybody's where they belong and everything's safe and secure for the night, and then I can come in and have dinner and everything's good to go. So I just leave it in God's hand till the next morning. Now I pick it up and start all over again.
I can see that being a quiet time and enjoying time. I can see it getting routine. I can see it getting to be downright drudgery, which is...
Well, it's definitely quiet of a morning. Every now and again, I'll hear my neighbor go down the road because we have a gravel road, of course, and he'll come down with a 36-foot cattle trailer and just kind of rattle and bang along as he goes. And every now and again, I'll hear neighboring cows lowing or bawling, whichever the case might be. It depends on what time of year. But it's usually pretty quiet around here, and we kind of like it that way, Coach. I don't hear traffic. I used to live just west of Chicago, so we constantly heard jets landing because we were in the flight path to land at O'Hare Airport all the time. See, wherever we moved, we were in the same flight path. And all of that is missing. I don't hear ambulances. Now and again I will during the day, but I don't hear ambulances and sirens and automobiles zooming back and forth and horns beeping and alarms sounding and all of that. It's just quiet and peaceful. And it's a wonderful time just to stop and commune with the Father each day. So normally I start out, I collect Bubba and we gather up 50, 75 pounds of feed, and we go out and we stop and feed the donkeys because they're in one section of the barn in a front pasture, and we come out of there and we go feed the cows and I'll do a quick check on fence line, make sure everything's okay. And by the time I come back, I've spent 30, 45 minutes now outside. And I'll stop after I latch the gate closed to make sure everything's secure. And Bubba and I will stop in the barnyard out under the pine trees, and I'll just take a blow. Just take a few minutes and rest and recover and collect my thoughts. And okay, what's next on the list? And that's usually feed the barn cats and Bubba, and then finally it's time for me to have breakfast. So between 7:30 and 8:30, I'll start making breakfast and enjoy that. And by the time that's done and everything, I start out at 4:30. You're right, 4:30, but that's God time, Coach. I reserve that. That's when I get through my devotionals, my Bible study, and I work through my prayer list. And I do things like that. And normally I'm lifting my heads with the final amen just about the time the sun starts to crack over the horizon just to my east.
Now
And
you're
okay, Lord, time to get the rest of the day going.
so you've got this little, you call it a UTV. That's a Kawasaki Mule, isn't it?
Yes, that's a mule, a utility terrain or
Mm-hmm.
or vehicle. It's a side by side, so
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
big
I had
seat.
one. Yeah, I had one.
Yeah, Bubba's got to have some place to sit, right?
Yeah, yeah. And well, I've been reading your blog long enough, and for those of you who are new to the program, well, welcome. JD blogs every Wednesday at jdwininger.com. And JD's a pretty good writer, but the thing that I've noticed over a period of time, a lot of your inspiration for your blogs come from that just riding around the Cross W.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah,
today was no
that's
exception.
well, thanks, Coach. That's the time. Like I said, I've got a hill on the western edge, and in the summertime when it's not so muddy, because I hate trying to throw it in 4-wheel drive and track up the pasture, because
Hmm.
that just destroys the grass and everything. But on the western edge of my property, I have a hill, and I love to park up there after I fed because they'll eat 70 pounds of feed in about 5 minutes. And then they'll come out to wherever I am, and hey, you got more. But they'll come out and they'll just mill all about me, and they're calling out to their calves or they're talking to one another. And it's just a peaceful setting. It's a high spot, right? It's a little hill. And I sit on top of that and I just watch the sun rise. And I just sat there, and sometimes Bubba will put his head in my lap. Other times he'll get down and go chase around, find a horse biscuit to eat. But I'll just sit there, and that's that, and that's my quiet time to collect my thoughts and kind of get my orders for the day, if you will. I've enjoyed my quiet time. I've enjoyed my God time, as I like to call it, each morning. And this is the time when I go, okay, Lord, guide me and direct me here. What do I need to do today? What do I need to learn today? And He never seems to fail to show me something. He'll bring a scripture verse to memory, or he'll show me something, and it just a wonderful, peaceful time to collect myself and just bask in His glory for a little bit, Coach. Because I know once I go inside, then Miss Diane will be up or will be getting up soon. So I make sure her coffee's ready to go and things. But then the emails start popping in and the clients start calling and the friends and neighbors are calling, needing this and that and the other thing. And life gets busy and hectic. And, I've got my to-do list, it's always got 8 or 10 things on it. And I've got to work through those things systematically. So I really have come to cherish and just relish in those quiet moments when I can just sit inside of God's nature and just commune with Him, buddy, and just listen to Him.
In your blog yesterday, you
Yes,
talk
sir.
you tell, it's really the same story, but it's kind of got two sides. You've got the awe and the wonder and the amazement of nature. You go out there and them bulls are kind of acting strange this time of year. Sap's kind of rising or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's funny because when the girls, as I call them, when the cows are in their last trimester, they have a 9-month gestation period, like
Hmm.
human females. But in that last 3 months, come about 2 months, because things can start to happen and premature births and
Hmm.
things happen. So I kind of separate the bull from them, and that way I can put them back with the yearling calves. Because if I've got female yearlings that are too young to breed, I don't need the bull there, right? Because
Hmm.
he's a bull; he's going to do what naturally
Hmm.
happens. So I protect them, but I bring the mama cows, the expected mama cows, in with the yearlings, and they get to spend a few months together. And of course, calving season happens and life goes on. And after they're almost a month old, the last of the calves are born. Then I will turn old Maverick back with his herd, And of course, he's pretty happy. And this year, he decided he was going to turn himself back with the herd. So he was about a month early, but he tore through the gate. What do I do, Coach? When you break quarter-inch chain, you know, then, okay, you win, boss. You know, go see the girls. And so they were all on my front pasture, which is 5 acres up there, and they're eating the ryegrass and the clover and just having a great time. And they've eaten it down pretty well, especially with all the rain. So, okay, I got to move you to the back because the new grass that I planted, the Sudan grass, is coming up, and plenty of forage for them, and I'll have plenty of forage throughout the summer back there, and it's a much larger area. So they're back there, and everything's fine and good for the first 2 weeks, and everybody's happy. You know, Maverick's back with his girls, and he's happy. You know, and he's hopping around on 2 legs doing what Maverick does. And then one morning last week, I noticed he's in the far western edge of the pasture, and he's not coming. Normally, they hear the ATV and they know right where to go. They know where the feed trough is, you know, and out they'll come. He's not budging. Well, all the girls line up food, you know, let's go. Come on, Papa, feed us. And they butt me out of the way to get to the feed. And the calves come in and feed, and everything's great and good, except Maverick. He's still out there by himself, and he's just looking to the southwest. Well, what's going on with my bull, right? And we've had a lot of rain, and I know it's muddy, and I know there's snakes, and you know, I just want to go check, make sure my buddy's okay, right? So I pull up, and he's standing there, you know, and he's got this look on his face. And I go, I know what your problem is. And about that time, 2 dots appear out of the woods, probably 50 acres away from me. And here he goes. He starts bugling. And if you've never heard a bull bugle, folks, you're in for quite the treat, you know, because it just rattles the windows. Ask Miss Diane, would you shut up? She yells. But he's calling out, going, "Hey, girls, I'm here. Notice me. I'm the guy on the other side of the fence. I'm the big, red, good-looking fella," you know. And of course, they'll come to the fence line sometimes. Well, hey, big boy, how are you? You know, I don't know what cows say, Coach, but I'm just filling in here at ad-libbing. And little calves will look at this big son of a gun. You know, well, I grew up to be that big, mommy. And just having a grand time visiting. And of course, he's got other things on his mind, Coach. He's a bull.
No, he has one thing on his mind.
Do what bulls do, right? You know. And so I take out the butt bat, and it rattles, you know, like a rattlesnake. And normally they'll follow me or lead, and I tap him on the shoulder, and nope, he's not going to pay any attention. So I get behind him, and I swat his backside with it, and okay, Dad, and he'll walk, and he walks 20 feet down the fence line. Come on, buddy. And then he turns left and makes a circle around and comes back behind me. He's not going anywhere, you know. And he goes back to bugling again, you know, just as loud as he can, you know, to draw as much attention to himself as he can. And I just give up. I'm going, man, I need coffee. So I'm heading back to the house, you know. But I start thinking about that, Coach, and I think, boy, you know, I wonder if God wishes we were as fervent, we would plead our case to him in prayer as much as he's pleading his case with these female cows that he can't get to because, you know, there's 6 strands of barbed wire and 2 strands of hot wire or electric wire with 18,000 volts running through it, you know. So you'd think that'd be enough to dissuade him. No, he's pressing on toward the objective, Coach. And he's just not going to be satisfied until he's satisfied. And I got thinking about that, and it really made me realize, you know, boy, sometimes, Coach, my prayers are just matter of fact. I go down the family prayer list every day, and it's got 52 names on it currently, you know, that I pray for each morning. And I go down that, and of course, I try to use what Mama taught me, the joy model of prayer, which is Jesus first, then pray for others, and then pray for you, or joy. See, and So I always try to pray like that. But sometimes God doesn't need to hear that, Coach. Now, those are all important prayers to Him. But sometimes He just wants you to get raw and real and just come to Him, tears and worries and fears and doubts, and just pour out your heart and soul to Him. That's all He asks. He says, I'm Abba, I'm your Papa, right? Just crawl up here in my lap and talk to me, boy. It's going to be all right. And how seldom do we do that? Normally, we've got to hit what I call the rock bottom before we ever just break down and bare our souls to God. God, I can't do this. I've tried it my own way so many times. You got to help me here, Father, because I can't do this anymore. I keep fighting the fight and I keep hitting the wall. And I know others have experienced this same battle. And man, just let go. Just give it to God, folks. Just pour your heart out to Him. He'll listen. The salve of grace is the most wonderful application in the world. Because when you've done this, when you've poured your heart out to God, when you've prayed with Him, and it's like David, I'm like a deer thirsting for you, God, and I'm laying prone, and I'm drowning in my tears at night, and boy, could David pray, couldn't he? I love the Psalms, but when you read other places, you see where Jeremiah was that way and Joshua was that way, and it's all throughout the Bible, Coach. Paul, the Apostle Paul, was that way, right? He kept praying that God would remove the thorn from his side, right? And many still wonder what that thorn will be. It's one of those eternal questions. One of the first things they ask him is, Paul, what was it? Yeah. Now I think I know, but we'll find out when I get there. But sometimes God doesn't immediately resolve our problems, Coach, and He doesn't because He's going, I love you, child, but you've got to grow stronger. I got to prepare you for what's coming down the road. And to do that, you need to get stronger. And you get stronger facing your trials, learning to exercise your faith and trust in that, Coach. And that's such an important lesson for us all to learn. But I think when we offer those prayerful pleas, as I like to call them, when we state our case to God, I think He pays even a little more attention if that's possible, because then we're making that heart-to-heart connection that He longs for, that He made us for. Does that make sense to you, sir?
I knew that was coming.
Okay.
The word brokenness kind of came into my mind, as you were describing this, just pouring your heart out to God, because, God can use us best in our brokenness. And if we don't bring ourselves to that brokenness, something else might, and it'd be better if we made that decision intentionally. And as you were sharing about facing, the problems, I've done some devotional videos, but one of the rules that I have is I love storytelling, and you're a pretty good spinner of yarn yourself there, my man, but I made a rule for myself saying no matter how interesting or comical or entertaining the story might be, if I can't tie it to some scriptural proof text, I just won't use it. So I have this devotional idea. It's been in my mind for over a year, kind of related to what you just said, and I'm looking for the verse. We need to face our fears, our challenges, okay, not run from them. And the illustration is this: if you are on a ship, a floating vessel, and the waves come up, your best bet is to point the bow of that thing directly into that wave. Because if you don't, that wave will capsize the boat. Now, you may lose anyway, but your best chance as a captain, if you're navigating that ship, is to put the bow and plow into it and just take it head on. And I just never could find the verse to go along with that, because spiritually, I think you just made the point that there's some bad stuff coming down the road that we may not even know about, and God is going to we need to be strengthening ourselves now, because if we wait for and react to when it happens, well, I'm sorry, it's too late. And we were having a conversation earlier today. We can't wait for it to happen. We need to prepare now for the future. Did you know that broken bones heal back stronger than the bone was before it was broken?
Yes, sir. The knitting together of the material.
Mm-hmm,
Exactly,
mm-hmm.
Coach.
It's that way. And muscles grow by being torn down. When you get stronger, it's because you tear them down.
A barbed wire fence is the same way, Coach. When it breaks, the two ends break.
Mm-hmm.
Barbed wire, and I know most of you have seen barbed wire at some point. You realize there's two wires with barbs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the two broken ends, if you separate those into two wires each, and then you turn it into a Y, and you bring those strands together, and you wrap one side of that Y, 1 and 2, and you wrap one side in one direction,
mm-hmm.
the other side in the other direction. You do the same thing on the other Y,
mm-hmm.
and you tie that together. When that is knitted together, that's stronger.
Mm-hmm.
There's more tensile strength than in the repair than there is in the original fence from the manufacturer. So, yes, sir, that's a natural example of just what you were saying there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, Coach, you talked on brokenness, and sometimes God has to break us because we won't break ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We refuse to yield to
mm-hmm.
his teaching and his urgings and his callings in our life. And he will break us. Why does he do that, Coach? Because it's much easier to put us back together the right way. It's better if we can disassemble ourselves under his guidance. But when that doesn't happen, he'll break us and put us back together again. In the pottery world, and of course, God is our potter, right? In the pottery world, when they recast something that has been broken, they take parts from the pot shards,
mm-hmm.
and they grind that up into a fine dust called dross.
Mm-hmm.
And they mix that with the clay. And when they fire that piece, it's actually stronger than it would have been without it. So when he breaks it, he mixes it in with the new, and it comes out stronger. Isn't that a wonderful representation? Yes.
And we need to kind of wrap up, but I really enjoyed the illustrations that you included in the natural world, that the males are usually more decorated, more colorful, and I wondered why, because in humans, I think females actually are prettier, right? But in the rest of the world, the females are drab, and part of that is for protection as camouflage when they're nesting. I mean, God cares about all this stuff,
Look at cardinals, right? The males are bright red and
mm-hmm.
and vibrant colors, but the female cardinals brown and black and kind of muted,
mm-hmm.
and there's exactly the reason for that. Yes.
Yeah, the wood duck is the most contrasting example. If you see a drake or a male wood duck and a hen female, you wouldn't know they're the same species.
No, sir. I know.
What is this? Yeah, it's like, but I stand, and it's always good to see Ben Cooper in the chat room in our PJNet family, because he has a special
walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, he has a special appreciation of the science in nature, but he knows how it connects to an almighty God. And we need more Ben Coopers in the world. We need more JDs. We need to stop long enough. We need to just disengage, put the brakes on, and just look around us. And as you were telling your story earlier, I thought, so many of us get up by an alarm clock and rush to get a shower, or huff something down as we go out the door, turn the key, hit the gas, and the problem with that is it's tiring, but number two, you're reacting to circumstances. And that's kind of a defensive posture. You're in a cat and mouse game, but you are the mouse. And, I think if we will take your illustration to heart, to make some time and sanctify that time, make that time, make those outdoors a sanctuary, and allow God to commune with God, that equips us to react to His will and go on offense. Instead of starting your day on defense, let's start out our day on offense. And we'll defense is good, but defense doesn't score a lot of points. Okay, offense does. So. But championship teams are made by defenses, by the way. But we won't go there. It's work. We're a little bit over. But JD, thank you for your inspiration. It never ceases to slow me down a little bit and just make me just admire and appreciate the wonder that is around us. But you have a gift of seeking it and then sharing it with others, and that's the great part. But do it yourself, folks. Don't just take JD's word for it.
Yeah, it's funny. Miss Diane mentioned that over dinner tonight, and I said, honey, honestly, it's a whole lot more God than it is me. Mm-hmm. And I just thank my Savior every day that He cares about me enough to inspire me to try and find a way to inspire others through Him. And that's the blessing in this life, Coach, is passing on all the blessings that we're given in life. Is it not?
Pay it forward, my man.
That's right.
JD, it's just great to be on the air again.
Yes, sir. Sure.
All right.
Wonderful to see you, and great to see everyone in the chat room. I'll see you there in a few minutes.
All right. And metaphorically and spiritually, for a tour around the Cross W Ranch. And we're fortunate to have JD on our team. Folks, I know we went a little bit long. We're clawing our way back, as you can see. We're here. Okay. Tomorrow night is a special night. We want you to we kind of hang out at 9:00, and Steve Hazards will be playing some for us, and you never know if it's going to be jazz or some retro stuff or some oldies or something, but it's always pleasant, and the fellowship is great. I hope you'll come join us about 9 Eastern tomorrow. But if you can't make it at 9, make it at 10. He will uncork my perspective and comments, and it has become quite popular. I remember when it was a 10-minute thing that he struggled through. Then it became a 15-minute thing that he kind of struggled through. Then it became a 20-minute thing that he wasn't struggling. Well, anyway, you can just come on around 10 o'clock p.m. 10 o'clock p.m. at night when it's dark, Eastern. And he'll be running the show starting at 9, but his program will come on at 10. Steve, if you haven't gotten the memo already, you need to contact me on how the new console works. Anyway, folks, time to go. It's been quite a week. While I've got you, we've got some plans. We are supposed to get our new DSL, our new internet lines, Monday. I don't know if they'll actually pull that off or not, but that's when it's scheduled. I've also got a lot of stuff coming in that has come in preparation for that. So I'm going to have to tear down the studio and kind of rebuild it. We literally don't have enough electrical outlets, and we don't have room for everything, and it's just a mess. And we've had some real derailures over the past 24 hours. But folks, we're clawing back. I want to especially thank all of you for your prayers, and for many of you that have reached out in various ways, directly, email, messenger, phone call, whatever it may be, to offer me a word of encouragement. And folks, it just means a lot, because sometimes the weight of this thing gets a little heavy, okay? But with your help, we'll get there. And I just appreciate and love each one of you. You're like a family to me, but we are going to accomplish this mission, and other people can take whatever action they want, but the word says that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Let me repeat that. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Let that sink in, folks, because it seems to me we're at war, and it's not going to get less intense. It's going to get more intense. And folks, what JD said tonight is something we all need to take to heart. is we're going to need to strengthen up. Okay, we need to strengthen up because if we are going to be ambassadors for Christ, we better get that armor. We better get our boots on, and we better get our shields, and take that to heart. Time to go, folks. 2 questions. What's the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Second question. When did you do that? My challenge, and I hope that you'll accept it, is to never be satisfied with either answer.